His Okizeme is one of his strongest in all of Street Fighter's history. What is Okizeme? Here's the definition. Okizeme is a term used in fighting games which refers to pressuring the opponent while they are getting up after being knocked down. Depending on the game, there are various possible options a player can make after being knocked down. Ken as a character covers the opponent being knocked down far better than his counterpart can. He is a force to be reckoned with once in your zone. Ken's neutral game functions very similarly to a wall when far away to mid-range, and a vortex when he is within the opponent's space. Where Ken's strengths lie in the neutral game are his abilities to gap close between his opponent and himself, to execute his high damage output B&Bs and other combinations that make him a deadly force. There are different types of neutral game styles in which you'll fight that vary based on character and player. These are not mutually exclusive and come in the forms of average characters, rushdown characters, heavies, and zoners. Now, an example of an average character are jacks of all trades, masters of none. They're accessible and easy. They teach the game. Mario and Lucina are pretty good examples of this. Rushdown characters are usually fast, light, and agile. They do better in close range and want to keep you under pressure as much as possible. Characters like Fox and Meta Knight keep this at bay. They keep this archetype well and alive. Heavies are strong and large, but slow and clunky. Think of King K. Rool, or DK, or Bowser. Traditionally, they aren't the strongest characters in a meta, but they are still a force to be reckoned with. Zoners are keep-away characters that have good range, but are the opposite of rushdown characters, where they do well when you're outside of close quarters, but they're amazing at a distance. Pac-Man and Zelda are generally good characters in this category. There are also unorthodox characters that have unusual tools and strategies. Characters like Game & Watch are a perfect example of this, and can't really be boxed into one category. There are many characters that fall within the spectrum, leaning more towards one style of character. As for this guide, we will focus on what Ken falls under. I will say, to be quite honest, according to the frame data and collection of videos that over the last few months have shown, it's based off of Smash. He is close to an unorthodox fighter and a rushdown fighter, somewhere in between. Closer to rushdown, but still, for Smash, he is very different than every other character in the cast. The ways you want to break into your opponent's space is using your dash's great speed and distance. Dash walking is a great tool that Ken's will want to start using. His run is as fast as Sheik's, and his walk has great acceleration, making him a very mobile threat. Ken's game plan is a little bit different, however, compared to his neutral game, keeping your opponents in disadvantage. Now, I cannot stress this enough. Ken is a trickster. He is a strong character that will mix you up and keep you in a blender as long as he can. A game plan, for example, gives the tools to build upon the foundation that his character is based upon. A strong fighter up close and one that closes the gap whenever the opportunity arises. That is his neutral. However, his game plan is to want to keep his opponents in a disadvantageous state as much as possible. Keep them confused and under pressure. And the disadvantageous state could be either when they're knocked down from a Tatsu, or when they're in the air from Crescent Kick or Hadouken. Use this to your advantage. This also means that you as a Ken player don't have to approach all the time with attacking. You can, when you're in the lead, for example, you can just walk up, shield. You can walk up and do tilts. You don't have to do many things to force damage. It's for the best that when you have the lead, play as solidly as you can. You don't have to force damage or interactions. Ken is a strong character that doesn't need to be forceful. However, using your presence, you can move in closer and take advantage of the situation. With the lead, force options out of your opponent and make them panic. Simply being near them does this job. and it turns into a monstrous snowball effect as the game goes on. Ken wants to be aggressive and mix up his opponents as soon as he is in their space. However, there is a caveat to this kind of character. Traditionally, rushdown characters can come in with aerials and pressure from the air and such. Like Fox, he comes up in the air, does tilts and all that crazy stuff. Well, Ken wants to be aggressive by staying grounded. He's not the greatest air fighter. By no means is he as bad as Little Mac, but once he commits to an aerial approach, the only other option to not commit is focus attack or double jump, and you don't want to burn many of your resources trying to get damage. His aerial drift and speed don't have the best way to stop committing the jump. Again, you don't want to burn resources. Unlike other rushdown fighters, you want to aggress from the ground, not the air. Ken's anti-air tools are possibly the best in the game, coupled with the fact that his air-to-air abilities are also very solid. His forward air and back air are great tools for taking air-to-air battles. And his heavy up tilt, up smash, and shoryuken are quite strong as anti-air tools. Treat them as if you're a wall and you're keeping them in the corner. Resetting your opponent up close using tools such as crescent kick or heavy down tilt Hadouken will put your opponents in the air and force them into an air reset to where they will have to use a resource to escape, in which you can react to and punish them by keeping them trapped in your blender. Ken has amazing tech chase tools, after which he knocks someone down, once mastered, potentially can kill someone off of one knockdown. Ken's many great tools and his strengths as a character are why I believe him to be so strong. Not many people have the same optimistic view, but I can assure you Ken is a very solid character that has many strengths. I will say that his disadvantages state isn't the, I would say, most forgiving. However, his advantage state is one of the best in the game, if not the best. His neutral game is a slow one. If you watch any Street Fighter 4 match, I would say it's very similar to that. Same as Street Fighter 5, where you want to make your way in slowly, but once you're in, you do as much damage as possible and you do not let up. His game plan, once he's in past the neutral game, is to keep his opponents pressured and prevent them from getting any breath, which is why he's unorthodox and a rushdown fighter. I will say, hopefully, this guide has introduced Ken in a formidable fashion, and hopefully you're committed to playing the character as I am. Thank you for watching. Part 2 will be about his moveset. The generals about his normals, his special moves, what can be cancelled, and what moves you might want to use in the neutral game. Stay tuned for part 2.